Welcome back to Ask Alex. This week we are diving into all of y'all's questions about traveling with a chronic illness, since I just got back from going across the pond in a very impromptu and last minute cadence, I may add. I share all of my stories from the travels in this week's Calling in Sick episode, but I'm answering your questions in this week's Ask Alex episode. So let's get into it. Y'all's first question for me was, what was the best food that I had while I was abroad? I have 3 answers for you guys. First, and this is because I throw my diet out the window when I'm traveling, because life is short and I want to eat as the locals do and experience what their life is like when I'm there. So the first one, pain du chocolat. I don't know if it's their better food supply and lack of chemicals in their foods, but that slaps differently in Europe. And I had them as often as I could put my hands on. Now, traveling with my sweet mother, who my entire childhood protected me from bakeries, I think I nearly gave her a heart attack every time I would eat one, because she was thinking cross-contamination, we're going to have an EpiPen situation, this is bad. But as an adult, I kind of risk it to get the biscuit sometimes, no pun intended. And I have not had one do me wrong yet, knock on wood. My second favorite food there was Indian food. I've had naan bread before, I've had Pakistani food before, but I have never had Indian food before. And oh my God, we went to Dishoom, which was phenomenally amazing. And when I put it on my story, 20 of you DM'd me and said, "Are you at Dishoom?" Was it the food? Was it the tablescape? What made you guys know that I was at Dishoom? I was besides myself laughing that it was a dead giveaway, but I don't know what about it made it a dead giveaway. Anywho, the food was so good. Why I haven't had Indian food before, I have no fucking idea. I mean, I grew up in the Midwest and I feel like maybe it wasn't as prevalent. I'm not sure. I'm embarrassed, candidly, that I'd never had Indian food. But no longer is the case. And I am going to find the best Indian food in Austin, Texas, because I'm hooked. Everything about it was the way I like to eat. Small little nibbles and bites and plates, family style, and kind of a slow process of the lunch, which honestly, I think the slower you eat, the better it is for your digestion. I'm sure I've read that somewhere. If not, it was just on an Instagram post, so who knows if it's true, but I feel like it probably is. Dishoom was phenomenal. Absolutely loved it. Third favorite food, I should say the Sunday roast, because that's what pub culture is on Sundays in London. Families, friends, they gather at their local pub and they have a local roast of chicken and mash and these delicious little puff bread things. I don't know. It's delicious, but that wasn't in my top 3. No. And nor was the fish and chips, which is another highly London pub food thing. My third favorite food was an Italian restaurant. I had this mushroom pasta deliciousness that reminded me, and don't laugh because this is so silly, reminded me of beef stroganoff. I'm talking about the Kraft kind in the box. No, it's Stouffer's. I'm talking about the Stouffer's kind in the box. Grew up in the Midwest, like I said earlier, and we loved that shit. We had beef stroganoff on the regular, hamburger helper on the regular. I loved it. And this felt like the grown-up healthy version of it. So St. Cooper is now determined to figure out how to replicate this exact pasta I had, which included handmade noodles. So we're going to need to learn how to do that. That's what I'm getting him for Valentine's Day. Shh. A noodle making class. So we'll be doing it. And I can't wait to have it again because it was I think it was the best pasta I've ever had. We'll be getting it again when I go back to visit my brother later this year. I'm going back later this year because we went for a family reason. We used all of our credit card points to go book that ticket and make it feasible. But my parents gifted Cooper and I tickets to London for Christmas. And so we are going to go again and play with them. And I'm so excited. There are some things that we missed on that London trip that I really, really want to see. One area we missed was the vintage shopping area. I'm so bummed about it. My friend Julie, who picked us up and watched our dogs while we were in London, was telling us about it on our drive back to our house. And Cooper and I were like, fuck. But thank God we're going again because we will be hitting that. And that's what I love about travel. You can't do it all. And it always leaves you wanting to go back and do more, which honestly I think is good. It's always so fun to come back from a trip and have things that you are yearning to go back and do. It will prompt you to travel again. And it's like the biggest hack for chronic illness to not feel guilty for not doing or seeing it all, which I talk about in this week's episode, so go check it out if you haven't yet. Have Coop and I been to London before? We had not, which is shocking for me and very exciting for Cooper. I have family that lives abroad, so I grew up going to visit them when I was younger, and I feel really grateful that I had the privilege of being able to do that. I learned how to save for travel differently, I learned how to travel differently, and it exposed me to a bunch of different cultures growing up. I think by the time I graduated from college, I had been to most of Western Europe, hit lots of Latin America. I used to translate for doctors in South America that were operating in children's hospitals and whatnot back when I was very fluent in Spanish, and a little bit in Southeast Asia. Where I had not gone, though, was London. And I'm so glad I finally got to go, and I finally got to see how my brother lives and what that's like. Cooper, on the other hand, has gone to Europe twice now. The first time was in 2023 for my brother's wedding, where I was in a remission-like state. We did so much. I am like flabbergasted to this day how much we were able to do in that trip. But London, obviously I was in a flare-like state. And candidly, and I talk about it in this week's episode, I was really nervous about how that trip went and how our expectations would be for the London trip. But alas, we were so good. We did way more than we anticipated, had a really good time, and I'm really happy that my family could all be there together. Y'all also asked me if I have any food recommendations for people with food allergies. Yes, travel with your snacks. I brought 2 suitcases for a week-long trip. One of them, clothes, shoes, toiletries, essentials. Other one, wellness and presents for my family that lives there. In that wellness suitcase, I included snacks. I brought my own bone broth. I brought my AG1 supplements. I brought crackers and just some essentials so I'd have my basics covered if my tummy was acting up while we were there. However, I will say in Europe, they have better labeling laws than we do in the States. So shopping for food at the grocery store was actually really easy. And I didn't find any problems navigating that with food allergies, which I guess is actually my biggest tip. If you can, go to a grocery store and get yourself some foods you know you can eat. So even if you can't eat out at a restaurant or something like that, you have stuff that you can go back to and nourish your body. But if you are traveling to a country that is non-English speaking, the best thing that my mom thought of when I was growing up that I still use to this day is an allergy translation card. So when you're at a restaurant, you just pull it out and you show it to the waiter. You can use ChatGPT these days. We used to have to find friends that could speak a language and translate my allergy card, but you'd hand it to the waiter and they would be able to see what my allergies were, how severe they were, and what the ask was. And that allowed me to travel with ease without any allergic reactions ever abroad my entire life. Huge pro tip. If you guys want the outline my mom came up with, let me know and I'll have my team pull something together and share it on Substack. The last question you guys asked me, are compression stockings worth it? And how often do I get up to walk around the plane? Yes, compression stockings are worth it. And more so than that, if it's a long haul flight, I'm talking over 4 hours, over 3 hours if you're like me and have big pain issues on the flight, full body compression stuff. So I love Elastique for providing that. I wore the top, I wore the pants, and I wore compression socks. I did that specifically on the way there because it was a red-eye flight and I wanted to sleep. So I knew I wasn't going to get up and walk around as much as I should have or needed to, honestly. So that allowed me to still have some support while I was sleeping. And we fly in the back of the bus. Cooper and I are cheapos. We do not indulge in business class or economy plus or extra legroom or anything, even though candidly we probably should with Coop's height, which means we're in the very back of the plane and you kind of have to make do with sleeping upright. I do have some hacks around that. You can hear them in this week's podcast episode. Tune in for those tips. So word to the wise, if you're going to do any long haul flights, use those FSA or HSA dollars and get yourself the elastic full body compression stuff. It's worth it. Your body will thank you tenfold and it will allow you to enjoy your trip way more and have an easier time recovering when you get back. I wish I would have worn my Elastique on the way back. Still kicking myself about that because I've been dealing with a little bit of an uptick in pain since we've been back. But if you don't want to wear all compression wear, the least and the least you can do is wear compression socks. I love the brand Comrade. They have 3 different levels of compression wear. So if you find them to be too restrictive or tight, you can go down a pressure level. They also have different lengths and sizes of those socks. So if you want just to your ankle, if you want above your knee, if you want your full leg, whatever you want, they probably have it. And they have it in both fun colors and neutrals. I'm a neutrals girly. I don't really want to draw attention to the compression wear, and I just tuck them in underneath my clothes and carry on with my day. That is one area where I think splurging is important, because the cheap compression wear is not medical grade. You want and need medical grade compression wear with a chronic illness. I will put links and codes to all of those things below, because I do have discount codes for all the compression isms humanly possible. If you guys have any upcoming travel and have questions about other things and how I navigated them, feel free to shoot me a DM. You guys know I love to answer any questions you have. And thanks for cheering me on as I navigated my first big trip while in a flare-up. I'm really, really grateful I was able to go, be there for family, and still found some pockets to have a blast. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining me for another week of Calling in Sick. As a reminder, I would love for y'all to like, follow, subscribe, save, share with a friend, do all of the things. It truly, truly helps grow this community, and it helps these episodes reach the people that need them the most, whether that's for an educational piece, to have a little laugh, or to not feel so alone. As a reminder, Calling in Sick sits on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify, and anywhere else where you can find your listens. From the bottom of my heart, I absolutely love you guys. Thank you so much for calling in sick with me every Monday. It's been an honor and a pleasure so far, and I can't wait to continue building this community with y'all. Love you.